What's up, guys? I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I wasn't expecting to actually, make with this channel. But it's actually a positive video for once. Today, I'm going to be talking about Prisoners and No Country for Old Men. Those are two of my favorite movies ever made. So I wanted to actually break up the monotony within this channel and talk about something I do like. And not complain about the film industry, blah blah blah. So the one thing I did recently was actually watch No Country for Old Men with my dad. Um, yeah, this is very rare, for me. Hold on, I'm gonna turn you guys up or turn the audio up a little bit. Um, so I feel like that movie is special. I think it's one of the most cinematic movies ever made. Oh, we got a liquor right here. I mean, every shot to me is just so intense and deliberate, intentional that I don't know. It's just a special movie because you could tell the directors had a very powerful, I would say, constraint on what they wanted to do. And especially it's a brother duo, directing duo, which is interesting. We don't have many of those. And to me, it works because you could tell when something didn't work. And what I mean by that is that when something was on that edge of almost completely ruining the movie, especially in regards to the adaptation of the source material to the film, I feel like that movie, it rides that very thin line. And some people have debated the ending for years and have hated on it, whatever. For me, I love the ending. I think it actually works in the context of, you got to realize that the movie is actually an allegory for being a prisoner, to something. All of the characters, to me, when I watched it this last time, it opened my eyes. I was like, holy shit, this movie's Prisoners is just Prisoners came out a few years later. So No Country for Old Men, this video is going to talk about, I'm going to support that claim, why I think that this movie, No Country for Old Men, is actually the original Prisoners. I didn't realize that, but I always wondered, how come I love these two movies? Like, Prisoners is in my top three, and so is No Country for Old Men. In terms of just movies flat out, anybody who knows me knows I'm a horror guy. I love the horror film genre. That's primarily what I watch. Because I just love being an underdog, let's be real. Anyways, so let's just talk about it. Everybody in this movie is trapped by something, and it was something that didn't occur to me until this past watch, and I've seen this movie probably a good 8 times now. And by the way, my favorite scene is in the motel when Chigurh stands outside the door, and all you see is his like feet, casting like a silhouette. I love that shot. I accidentally paused it one time. Actually, not one time. Literally, my first time I seen the movie, I paused it on that moment, and I thought I was fucking glued to the screen because I think I had to go pick up pizza or something, and or go with my mom somewhere to pick up pizza, and I paused the movie, and I guess for some reason when I sat back down, the way the lighting in the room was, it looked like the movie was like actually playing still. So I thought I walked back in on either a rerun or something, and I thought I was like coming back into, the same scene. And dude, I sat there watching intently, for like 10 minutes, thinking like the film just took a fucking pause. Now, remember, I was kind of probably young. I was probably like 12 or 13 when I saw this movie. So I wasn't thinking. So I'm sitting there watching these two, feet underneath this fucking door and thinking, when the fuck is he going to come in? You know what I mean? Like, it had me on the edge of my godforsaken seat. Anyways, that's my own little personal anecdote. But this past time that I was watching the movie, I realized that everyone is trapped by like fate, greed, morality, time, the passage of time, or just their own nature, right? That's something that I wasn't anticipating myself to really enjoy this past time that I watched the movie, because I was trying to figure, like, I was like analyzing the movie because I've seen this movie hundreds of times, and I was like, holy shit, this person, Llewellyn, right? Llewellyn Moss, our main character here, he's a prisoner of greed and pride. He knows someone will come looking for this, bag of money, this suitcase, or briefcase. I can't. I think it turns into like a suitcase. But when he finds that briefcase, he's like, holy shit, right? And I love his like little, you know, reaction there. I think the actor's name is Josh Brolin, if I'm not mistaken. He literally just goes, hmm, oh, it's amazing, man. Anyways, I'm fucking nerding out over like dumb shit right now. I apologize. So he knows someone will come looking, right? He knows that shit, and he takes the money anyways. And I love that concept. What if you find a bag full of money? What are you gonna do? And this movie is exactly that premise, right? He even returns later with water because he knows that like the dude is dying of thirst, and he asked him for water earlier. So like he has like a conscience. God, I can't really say the word. A conscious choice to go back because he knows he's fucking this guy over if he doesn't bring him water. So he knows that this is wrong, but he decides to do it anyways. It's his pride thinking he can outsmart whoever's going to come after him, whoever this money belongs to. He thinks he can just run away from it all. And, to me, that's when he becomes trapped in this chain reaction. And it becomes a system for him. And he thinks he can beat the actual system of how this is going to go down. So, to me, it's just stubbornness in the face of a system that he thinks he can beat. One thing I do like about the writing of the movie, of the source material, and this film, I really enjoy how the main character Llewellyn Moss is actually smart. But like the moment he takes that money, he becomes even more capable, even more clever. He thinks on his on his toes the entire film. So to me, like that's what makes it really interesting to watch, is because like when you see Llewellyn, you think he's a pretty capable guy, but like once he actually like starts enacting this plan of we're gonna go to this motel, we're gonna go here, we're gonna do this, especially like in the outdoor store, the outdoors, like Dick's or something, hunting goods, getting a tent pole to push the suitcase deeper into the vent, at the hotel, like you could see that any person could probably come up with some of this shit, but I think that the way they wrote it, I think most people are captivated by the level of intelligence that Llewellyn actually possesses. When you're like, it's basically like, what do you like? How far it does the average human go when their back's up against the wall and they have to perform? And I think this movie actually takes that concept of like, we're not dumb, right? Like humans are not dumb. We are actually really intelligent, especially when it comes to thinking on our feet around other people or in a situation. We are actually really smart. Even the dumbest person you think in that situation, they will, wise up if they take it seriously. So I don't know. And maybe that's me, like, projecting on this shit a little bit. But like, I feel like, when you see the movie, you could see yourself doing some of this shit, and then seeing it be done even better compared to what you would have done, I think is what makes Llewellyn's character kind of like a really good main character to follow, because he's you. In a sense, he's you, and he's like an almost almost infallible when it comes to his plan, what like how he's handling it. He's almost infallible. And I think that's what is, spoiler alert for anybody who's not seen this movie. It's been almost 20 years, but spoiler alert. He doesn't fail himself. Someone else rats him out at the end of the movie, and basically sets him up unknowingly. And I think that's what's so interesting about the story of No Country for Old Men. Everybody is a prisoner to something. We're going to go into more, but he was never exactly like a product of extreme intelligence, but he still managed to beat a lot of odds. He had a hitman after him. He probably had, this Mexican cartel on him. He beat the odds. He was going to have the money. But the problem is that because of his pride, he decided that going down and staying in this last hotel was a good idea. And he wouldn't have been found out that he was there if someone else didn't rat him out. And I think that's like pretty telling that our main character was smart enough to survive. It's just when you have, someone else pull the rug out from underneath you, what do did you really lose? I don't think so. I think he won. It's just Sugar and the Mexican cartel, they had information that eventually I feel like he would have either lost the money or lost his life. But I think in the movie, it's pretty clear that Moss is capable enough that he would have walked away with this money. It's just someone else had basically ratted him out on accident. And that was that. Sometimes, your own fate isn't decided upon what you do. It's really what someone else thinks of you or your fate. And it's, I don't know. I just think it's, it's a good character to follow. But, his flaw, his prison is greed and pride because he thinks he can escape all of this, and he almost does it. So where do we go from here? I mean, honestly, I feel like the right way to cap off the villain. Let's go to the villain. Let's talk about Anton. Oh god, that voice crack was insane. Anton Chigurh. If you're gonna start with the main character, let's second always let's do the villain. So I'm sorry, by the way, I'm a little sick. My voice is a little fried. Anton Chigurh, I feel like he's really an interesting character because I feel like he's actually the most imprisoned out of all of them, out of everybody in the film. I feel like Anton Chigurh is someone who he's not necessarily a prisoner in what they believe in its entirety. I feel like it's not what he believes, it's how he feels. And I feel like there is like a different, like, the way to explain it is like, if you have this girlfriend who you believe is a good person, but deep down you have this deep feeling that it's not right. That's kind of the difference I'm trying to establish here, is that there's a difference between belief and gut feeling. And what you believe the universe is trying to tell you. You can know all day long that you are this person or whatever, but then deep down that this was a name given to you. You can go into that spiral of fate, chance, the universe, consciousness, whatever. But at some point you have to come down the line and realize, like, this is what you think. This is how you feel. And there is a little bit of a deciding factor. Do you feel like you are, let's just say, an advanced monkey, right? Do you believe that? Or do you believe like you're an advanced species? Or do you believe like you're an actual human, a person? Are you like that? To me, there's a difference. So the reason why I had to give that like whole spiel is I'm gonna tell you straight up. I feel like Anton Chigurh, he's not exactly the boogeyman, but I do love how in this movie he appears as quite literally the Grim Reaper. I love that aspect to this movie. Every time that other people see him outside of what we see, as we follow him, um, our main character Llewellyn Moss, he always appears as like a phantom, a ghost. He's always in reflections or shadows. And yeah, I've always loved the way that the directors decided to frame the main villain to the main character. To me, it's just the boogeyman straight up to our main character. It's exactly why I love Halloween. I feel like Halloween establishes that element with the original, that to Laurie, Michael Myers isn't, Michael Myers, he's the boogeyman. And the boogeyman has a shape instead of, a face or, a particular look. So in Halloween, he always appears kind of shaded, sort of always in shadow or obscured. And so really Laurie doesn't get a good look at Anton, or oh my gosh, Anton, two different movies. Doesn't ever get a good look at Michael until probably at the end of the movie. But even then, she doesn't get a full-on like 20-second look at him. She gets like a half a second, and like, boom, got to move on. I got to run from his ass, So that both of those movies do that very well. So like Prisoners, I'm not going to be talking exactly about Prisoners, but what I love about that movie is it's also, everyone in that film is also a prisoner as well. And I might make a video about it, but I wanted to like really just narrow down what I love about these two movies. And it's that element that I really like, is that everyone in these movies are prisoners. And Anton Chigurh, he believes, and he's kind of a prisoner to the idea that he is a instrument of fate, right? He believes that his code, the reason why he hasn't died, or his identity, who he believes he is he's tied to fate. He is basically the Grim Reaper in his head. He delivers people's fate as a hitman, and so to him, he's not making any choices. He is delivering fate to people. And I love that because the only influence that he gives is a coin toss. Decide whether you live or die. So that's why, like in the movie, one thing I noticed was he talks about promises. He can't make any promises, but also he overextends a promise. And I think that's where the movie, in the end, for Anton Chigurh, that's why he ultimately gets struck by that car at the end of the movie. It's because he went out of his, I feel, depth. And the movie also builds that mystique that, throughout the entire movie, Anton Chigurh is like almost impenetrable. He does heal himself about midway through the film, but it's almost like it doesn't really affect him. Yeah, it hurts. The getting shot by a shotgun hurts, but it's almost like he's like the Terminator. He's Arnold, Schwarzenegger. He's like robotic, and he's also like Michael Myers. He feels relentless and in the pursuit of this money of Llewellyn Moss. And he doesn't seem like a person. He seems literally like a phantom. So I feel like at the end of the movie, when he gets hit by that car, I feel like that's when prior to we are to assume he kills Llewellyn Moss's wife, because he made a promise and he kept it to Llewellyn that he was going to kill his wife. And so that element I think is also very interesting, because I feel like the whole movie, the coin toss scene, is actually the moment where the movie establishes that the coin toss is a problem and eventually, just like fate, because Anton Chigurh is like, the coins traveled here 22 years, blah blah blah. He got here the same way I did, and he believes that that coin was always going to be there because he came along, and he made it come there. He was instructed to bring that coin with him. So therefore, the coin toss is the only way for this to go any different. And I feel like ultimately the coin toss is actually where the universe tells Anton Chigurh that it's not your choice. Giving people a coin to flip, it obstructs the order of what he's doing. So like in a way, like it's like if he just kills them when he says I won't kill you, he breaks that promise. Or on the flip side, if he doesn't make that promise and he gives him a coin toss, the universe sees that as a slight in the movie. Like I'm not talking about like, in reality, of course. I really do feel like the one insight I have to bring with that is because when she doesn't do the coin toss at the end, we don't see it happen, but we are to assume that Llewellyn Moss's wife, she does not do. I think her name is Carla Jean. Carla Jean doesn't do the coin toss. That's kind of the movie saying like the coin toss is bullshit, no matter what. And it was always going to end, like, if the person wins, it was always going to be that, he was always going to be influenced by the person themselves to not kill them. So they end up winning the coin toss anyways. But he believes that is the universe delivering that fate on like a silver platter. When it's actually, like Carla Jean says, it's just him. It's just how he is. It's his code that allowed some of these people to survive and some of these people to die. And I believe that's like what's really powerful about Carla Jean in response to, or in comparison to Anton, is that she is not in the movie as long, but she ultimately is his undoing out of everybody. And I really love that element of No Country for Old Men. So I feel like with Anton, with him being an instrument of fate, he is a deliverer of fate. That's his code, that's his prison. He follows it to a T, but when he breaks it, I feel like that's when he kills Carla Jean after making the promise, but not allowing her to do the coin toss. I feel like that is where, which I think that's been echoed over the years. Like that's, I'm not making a new revelation, but I do feel like Carla Jean is a very understated character. And so that element, her not doing the coin toss and her saying it's just you, like you are the one who makes the decision, not the universe. I think that's what's interesting. So she is important. And I feel like the Prisonic issue with Anton is like he makes all the decisions. He doesn't allow nature to take its course. He believes like he basically obsessed with order and fate. So to me, it's a very slavish idea that you are a force of nature, that you must deliver these fate to people. I don't know. I don't know. I might be off a little bit off the mark in what I've said so far, but I feel like that's pretty close, and that's how I read it this past time with these two characters. And we'll talk about Sheriff Ed, Tom Bell. What I really love about this character is I feel like he's just really a prisoner of like nostalgia and time and moral exhaustion. I feel like he's always, he just feels like the world has passed him by. You know what I mean? He's always talking about the increasing violence, the inability to understand, sugar, why people do what they do. and also surviving World War II. Um, and like what I love about this character is like he believes that the world used to make sense, and now it doesn't. And that's why he resigns at the end. Like he feels like the world is just too unpredictable. Um, and that's his prison. Like he believes that the world has changed, even though like it probably didn't. It's always been like that. Um, he feels like there's a loss of meaning there, where he feels like he can't win this war. So his prison, I feel like, is just time. It's nostalgia, and I feel like everybody experiences this at some point, that the world used to be better. And we see that all the time now. The world used to be better, blah blah blah. But I don't think that is necessarily a revelation. I don't feel like that time passing is necessarily the revelation in and of itself. It's the loss of meaning there. I really feel is the strongest aspect to his character as the main sheriff. He feels like he can't control nothing, and Llewellyn's death pushes him over that edge, that nothing can be controlled. And I feel like that also redirects around to Anton, because he believes that the world is controlled, and so that's what the duology there, that Anton, he delivers the fate, he delivers the order, but Sheriff Ed Tom, he's over here like, man, this shit don't make any fucking sense. So I feel like hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Like these two characters are like polar opposites. One believes it's all disarray and chaos. The other believes that he is the chaos that makes it make sense. So I believe that's why the sheriff is so important. In his final monologue at the end is a perfect example of exactly his prison of the world passing him by, loss of meaning, nostalgia, and also the one thing I really enjoyed, the one line I really enjoyed, that really nails this down. I feel like the line where he says that he's older than his dad by like 20 years. So in a sense, like talking about in his dream, he says that he sees his dad, and in his dream, his dad's like younger by like 20 years. He's older than he ever was in real life. And in that like confusion and haunting dissonance, I don't know if that's the right word to, I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if dissonance is right, but it's just that confusion aspect to it is dissonance is not the right word. I don't know why I said that. I'm trying to. There's something. There's a word for it. Maybe. There's just like in his mind, his dad is his dad, right? But in his dream, he's the older man, and I've always found that to be a powerful thing, because as I've gotten older, I'm not older than anybody who's passed yet, but I know my dad probably feels that way, that he's now older than his pops, or here in a few years he's gonna be older than his mom, and there's a little bit of strange feeling there. It's very real, very human. And so, the nostalgia aspect is kind of twisted on its head there a little bit, where, your nostalgia, even for your family, can be poisoned a little bit by just time. So, Carla Jean, we've already talked a little bit, but a little bit about, but I feel like she's also just a prison of being powerless. She has nothing to say in this. She has no, skin in the game. I feel like what we talked about with the coin toss at the end, it's her once again being powerless, and that she knows that the coin is not going to help her. So that's why she refuses to play. Yet again, she feels like she's caught in someone else's decisions for her. And and also like she's the only one who rejects the illusion of fate. She's probably the most, in my opinion, the most tragic character, because she literally doesn't, she's not involved in any of this, but she pays, the biggest price of her life for no reason, it seems like. Um, and the other side too is like, because she's tied to Moss, that's also another prison in and of itself. She is essentially Moss's prisoner, which sucks. Carson, Carson, I'll tell you this: Woody Harrelson, I fucking love him. I love him in this role. He's not in it for a long time, but he plays a damn good role. I feel like his imprisonment is. Oh shit! I'm not even joking when I said the illusion of fate, and we started talking about Woody Harrelson. What you just heard was, no shit, I'm not even lying, bro. I wish I had a video. A box that I have like a little overlook. It's like a little board, like a shelf holding stuff above my desk. Sorry, I have like a little bit of adrenaline coursing through my veins because I almost died. I'm not even shitting you. This box fell off the top. And it's not a box, it's like a whole crate full of stuff. And it fell off and hit me on the top of my head and knocked my headset off. And I thought like someone broke into the house and like just tried to hit me over the fucking head. Hopefully like the audio is all right. But like I thought I was getting fucking attacked, bro. Holy shit. That's what you just heard. And I apologize. My headset's all fucked up too. Fuck. That is one of the creepiest things I think I've ever experienced. After just saying the illusion of fate. It's kind of fucking crazy. So, that's crazy as shit. So Woody Harrelson, he knows that he's unstoppable, right? He knows he's unstoppable. He knows Moss is doomed. He doesn't know exactly what can be done to save him or himself. But he still believes that skill and money can control the situation, control Sugar. And so like I feel like his imprisonment really is in the confidence in the system that he operates in, right? And when Sugar, confronts him and has him at gunpoint, that illusion of safety in a system and confidence in that system completely collapses and goes away. It's sort of like how in real life, when we believe in something, higher than ourselves, or in people higher than ourselves, and they show that you put your trust in the wrong thing, right? And that illusionment just disappears. So you experience that already probably in your life. And Orson holy shit. Carson Wells, my bad. I've got like a little bit of notes here to make sure I stay on track as much as I can. Carson, I feel like he ultimately pays the price of assuming that even if the rules are bent or the system goes away, that there will still be some sort of code underneath. So it's not just, the system that he operates in goes away, or it's an illusion of a system goes away. It's really the confidence that ultimately that he can still make something happen, that his skill, money, whatever, can still control the situation, and that ultimately is what sends him into an emotional climax, I feel like. where he's like, go to hell or fuck you, whatever he says to Anton. Um, he just feels like all of the systems that he operates in have abandoned him, and I would feel that way too. I'm not gonna lie. If I was Carson Wells in that situation, um, and what's interesting, I feel like Woody Harrelson kind of plays like the cop. Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Prisoners, he kind of plays that a little bit. Except I wouldn't say that Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Prisoners has this same kind of belief. I think that he wants to believe that the system works. It's just that he didn't. I don't feel like in Prisoners, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, I don't think that he was willing to break the system in order to achieve rescuing this girl or these girls. So Carson, he hides behind the system. Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't really necessarily absolutely believe in the system, but he tries to see if it will work. So he kind of tests it. Carson believes in it, and I feel like that's where these two characters kind of diverge, but they essentially play kind of a similar role in their respective films. And also Llewellyn Moss and oh my gosh, what's his name? Keller, I think it is. I think that's Hugh Jackman's character, Keller. I think I can't. It's been a minute. I need to rewatch Prisoners. What I really like about these two characters, it goes back to what I think about Moss. But I also feel like in Keller's situation, he is a little bit in over his head, and so he makes decisions that even us as the audience knows is going to put him away, even if he's caught. Like he makes decisions that is going to harm him even more in the eyes of the system that he plays in, as the civilian, as one of the parents that have been wronged, and he just keeps doubling it down throughout the film. He keeps making the wrong decisions, the wrong choices, and he ends up almost a victim himself. And I'm also one of the subscribers that he is found at the end of the movie, past the ending. I think that there is enough, evidence to believe that he does get found. But I do feel like that they're both really strong protagonists because they both are really intelligent. But they also represent it's sort of like if you were a father, or if you're a father, what would you do if one of your kids gets taken? It's that simple concept that these two movies, they both share very simple setups, but they evolve into something more than what was set up in the beginning, and that's what I really enjoy about these two films. So at the end of the day, I hope that I offered something, or at least I'm opening the door to conversation that others can watch for years to come, and maybe think about and even improve on. But I do feel like both films are like a closed system of consequences, right? At the end of the day, both of these, my bad, I'm fixing a cable. At the end of the day, everybody in these two films, they all have consequences caused directly or indirectly by others. And I feel like these two films should be studied when it comes to thrillers and dramas. Thrama drillers. Thrama drillers. That's crazy. Drillers. That's an insane. Drillers is crazy. I think I just made a new genre. Drillers. That's crazy. I just feel like these two films are very riveting and captivating in a lot of different ways, but I feel like this is the one, piece of glue that keeps these two films in the zeitgeist, in pop culture for so long, and why they're so beloved. God, Leon. Oh, come on, Leon. Let's go, baby.
All right, Leon. Be careful.
All right. I'll catch you guys later.